Hello, this is group number 4, the Animal Kingdom, and this is the final presentation of our TV show.
In our TV show, you see a failing kingdom that comes together to work as a team to bring the kingdom back to what it once was.
In our TV show, all our characters are represented by different animals, and they all have different personalities and qualities that mesh together. And this is what makes our kingdom unique. Now we will go over our characters. Our first character is Mason the lion. The qualities he has is he's very intelligent and he's an excellent leader. Next is Salvador the cheetah. He's very shy but very knowledgeable. Next on our list is Elle the serpent. He is very spontaneous and is excellent at communication. And finally, we have Doug the dog. And his strengths are in strategizing and teamwork.
Episode 1 is when we introduce our kingdom. This is when we get to see all the characters that come into play throughout our story. We see some key management concepts come into play that really help our story go along. First of the concepts is management environment. This is a big concept for us because this is when we start to see more roles start to be defined, and we're in desperate need of some new management to come and change the kingdom around. The next concept we see come into play is the leadership role. We see this happen when Mason starts to step up and wants to become a leader and take control of the kingdom and not let the kingdom fall like it is right now. The stronger the leader, the more success they will have in the long run and in the future for the kingdom. The next concept we see is teamwork. This is when we see all the animals start to come behind Mason and start to work together so that they can be one team working to have a successful kingdom, living like they once were.
Episode 2 is the rebuilding phase. This is when the 4 leaders come together, coming from different cultures and environments, and with different personalities and perspectives, and that is what's making the kingdom fall apart. They haven't successfully communicated where they are coming from, and the lack of communication is causing problems. However, once they started communicating, they realized they came from common ground, and now they are looking to get a single leader in charge. And the 4 separate leaders are realizing that just because one person is in charge doesn't mean that they don't all have a say and an opinion on what's going to happen to the kingdom. That is, that they can work as a team. For example, let's take Doug the dog. He is very strategic and is excellent coming up with a good plan for the kingdom to work together and solve the problems that they face. Another example would be Elle the snake. He is strong at communication and helps express other people's point of views.
Episode 3 takes an in-depth look at all the characters and goes over what they are currently doing within the kingdom. This episode is also where we see what each management skill each character has to offer. Now that we see Mason step up as a leader, we also see the other members of the kingdom start to flourish as leaders. We see Doug start to strategize plans to help the kingdom. We see Salvador start to come out of his shell. But we also see Salvador come out of his shell as he starts to help Doug strategize and help everyone else out in the kingdom. Elle is also helping everyone out with his communication and spontaneous personality.
In episode 4, we start to see some issues come into play for our kingdom. There are threats from a nearby kingdom that need to be solved in order for our kingdom to complete its rebuilding phase. Again, in this episode, we are in desperate need of teamwork and for all our animals to start stepping up and filling their roles. The animals need to start leaving their personal feelings aside and start looking at what's best for the kingdom and what is best for their future.
Although this can be very difficult, putting your personal feelings aside and thinking what's best for others and not just oneself. Also, these problems that are happening in the sister kingdom really hit home for some of the animals.
Episode 5 is a huge episode for the kingdom, because this is when the kingdom solves all their issues and all the threats are out of the way, and the kingdom is now working as one whole. This is really awesome to see, because in the beginning no one really had any defined roles. Now we see with all our characters, Mason, Elle, Salvador, and Doug, they all are really in defined roles and what they work well doing. Because Mason stepped up as our leader, he really put all the animals into their own specific roles at all times throughout the kingdom. This really brought a lot of success for the kingdom and a lot of organization, because everyone is in their defined roles and knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing at all times. Unlike before, when everyone was all over the place just doing their own things, being their own leaders, and only worrying about themselves, and only worrying about their own personal culture. Now we see all the cultures working as one. Everybody's opinions matter at all times. The kingdom can now move on and continue to grow and have a great positive future.
General conclusion. As a group, we see that there is a lot of management and becoming a great manager. Understanding management takes a great deal of time and focus on learning the risk skills. You will not have success as a manager if you do not build yourself as a leader. That is something we have to really notice as a group. If you're not willing to put the time and learn all the areas of management, then you will go nowhere as a manager and as a team. Management is not something that will just fall in your lap and you instantly become great. The more you can build your management knowledge and skills, the more effective you will be future when you put your management skills to a test. Reflections. Edier Castellón. I'm very happy that I got to meet people like Cason, Jayk, and Julian. Very outgoing people with powerful management skills, and I can say I learned from each of them. Every time we got together, I learned something new. So it was a great experience, and I would love to take another class with another team like them.
Hello, I'm Julian. My reflection of this class has been awesome. Working with my group has been great. In the beginning, we started off a little all over the place, but we really started to pick it up together and really start to understand the management concepts. We really put together strong organization skills throughout the semester that really helped us out building our story as we went along and really building our animal kingdom together. Before this class, I had not as much knowledge about management, and now I feel like I have gained a lot more, and especially working in a team environment, I learned a lot more about management and how important it is in a work environment. The stronger team that you can have built together, and the more successful you will be throughout the semester working as a group. So all in all, I'm really happy I got to work in this group, and I think we had a great semester, and I really think it showed throughout our project.
Hi, this is Cason, and this is my reflection. This semester has been an interesting one. Even though we lost a group member at the beginning, it worked out for the better. Each of us has now grown closer since our initial assignment. I'm glad things worked out the way they did. It's been very educational in regards to how to efficiently work together as a team. And I'm glad I got to work with everybody.
Hey, my name is Jayk. I am really grateful for my group. They have been very hardworking and distributing the work very evenly all semester. We always meet up as a group and we work on these projects and design challenges as a group. Each of us makes sure that none of us slack off. And I've learned a lot on how to work better as a team and many management skills that affect my daily life. Also, my first initial thought of having an online group was going to be a nightmare, but it turned out to work very smoothly. And I feel like I learned a bunch of new skills that can carry on into my future.
To wrap it all up, we put some recommendations for future students that enter this course. As a team, we believe that it's really important to have a schedule and really have organization. We learned that right from the beginning. The more organization you have, the more likely you're going to have success working with your team. With so many working parts to these assignments, you have to make sure everything's organized and everyone knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So we really recommend right off the bat really understanding everyone's schedules and really setting together a great organizational plan. Some great tools that you can use are things such as FaceTime, Google Slides, and Facebook Messenger to always stay in touch and to constantly be keeping your team updated for the assignments each week so you're on top of things. Some final advice we want to leave for the future students is to really keep an open mind. The more open-minded you can come into the assignments, the more you'll be able to understand people's ideas and their opinions. And you'll be able to finally come and work together and find a middle ground to put all your ideas and opinions together to come up with one successful plan that can work for your story.